Well, here we go again. I mean, I guess we should have seen it coming. Tomb Raider is now racist. Yes, I'm going to talk about the situation with Crystal Dynamics and the remastered Tomb Raider games. Though hopefully I'll be able to add a slightly different take on it and avoid repeating the cacophony of similar opinions out there. First, let me recap on the unlikely chance that you have no idea what I'm talking about. In the past week, Aspyr Media, working with Crystal Dynamics and parent company Embracer, released a remaster collection of the original Tomb Raider trilogy, which had been made by Core Design under Eidos Interactive back in the 90s. These remasters were highly anticipated by fans, like myself, who grew up playing these classic games and still have a lot of love and fond memories of them. The excitement leading up to the launch on February 14th was only marred when Crystal Dynamics decided to release a disclaimer regarding the remasters that read as such. The games in this collection contain offensive depictions of people and cultures rooted in racial and ethnic prejudice. These stereotypes are deeply harmful, inexcusable, and do not align with our values at Crystal Dynamics. Rather than remove this content, we have chosen to present it here in its original form, unaltered, in the hopes that we may acknowledge its harmful impact and learn from it. This disclaimer also appears briefly when you start the game for the first time. Now, I'm not going to devolve into a diatribe about Crystal Dynamics and their posture toward the Tomb Raider games or Lara herself. There are plenty of commentaries out there focused on this, and everything that can be said has been already. So I want to take a different approach, because the disclaimer itself isn't what bothers me, but the mentality behind it, the thought process of those who felt it was necessary. That perspective isn't unique to Lara Croft or Tomb Raider. So what is it about? Well, let's parse out the statement and see if we can figure that out. First, the statement reads, "The games in this collection." The statement does not specify a game, any particular level, or part, so I can only assume they refer to all 3 games in the collection. Next, it claims that there are offensive depictions of people and cultures rooted in racial and ethnic prejudice. Again, they don't specify which depictions they're talking about, which cultures, or what people. It may seem I'm being a bit didactic here, but I think what Crystal doesn't say in this statement is just as important as what they do say. Their refusal to provide any examples or specifics is a huge clue as to their motive. What is so offensive? Is it Lara herself, her design, her portrayal? Is it the gangsters or the Tibetan warrior monks in Tomb Raider 2? Is it the tribal natives in the South Pacific level of Tomb Raider 3? The easy answer is yes. It is all these things. It is everything. Everything and anything that might upset the delicate sensitivities of a modern gaming audience. If you find something that offends you, Crystal Dynamics wants you to know that it offends them too, and they don't like it either. In the last part of the statement, they say the harmful content has not been removed, but has been allowed to remain so we can all learn from it. This is not some mature or nuanced decision, because again, they haven't even defined what content they're talking about. Once they started making decisions about what to remove and what to leave in, they would have entered a no-win situation, because they would have had to defend what they cut and what they left. I am sure Crystal is taking notes from the reactions of the terminally online crowd to learn what they find most triggering. Those notes will be used as they develop their next game in the Tomb Raider franchise. So at this point, let's take a moment and appreciate the possibility that Crystal's disclaimer is not a show of responsibility or strength, but the exact opposite. It's a sign of weakness, of a company terrified of potential backlash to games that are over 20 years old. The blanket attempt to remove themselves from the origins of a franchise that the entire company has become dependent on is actually funny in a sad, misanthropic kind of way. But the question from earlier remains, even within the vagary Crystal set, what would people find to be so offensive about these games? The classic Tomb Raider games were never intended to be taken very seriously. Lara herself was inspired by comics and larger-than-life characters. Tomb Raider is little more than an escapist fantasy. It should be obvious that Lara isn't meant to be an accurate representation of women in real life any more than Wonder Woman is. The natives in Tomb Raider 3 are not meant to represent any real tribe or people group. These really are just video games. Fiction. A bit of mindless fun. And here is the real problem. Today, within our media culture and the worldview that drives our entertainment companies, it is unacceptable to have mindless fun. Everything must link back to the real world. Everything is a commentary on something. Any depiction in fiction is symbolically referencing something else. This is the case here, because activists and ideologues cannot see past their own noses. They cannot step outside their own heads, even for an hour or two. Everything is filtered through their narrow neo-Marxist lens, in which there's always someone in power and someone being abused by those in power, the privileged and the put upon, the owners and the workers. This perception is pervasive. There is nothing else. and they can't help but read it into everything, especially things from past generations where their philosophy did not shape the entertainment people created and consumed. And so we're back to the beginning. What's so offensive about the original Tomb Raiders? They're old. They were made at the wrong time by the wrong people. But the good news, the light at the end of this dark tunnel, is that someone at Embracer isn't driven by the same mentality. They were more than likely driven by dollar signs and profit margins, believing that a remaster of the original trilogy would make them money. But whatever the case, some of us, who have not been dispossessed of our ability to enjoy escapist entertainment, can now enjoy the original Tomb Raider games once again. But that's just a rebel's opinion. But what do you think? Have you played the Tomb Raider remasters? Do you plan to? Would you be interested in seeing me take a longer, deeper introspective look at the Tomb Raider games over the years? If so, let me know in the comments below. Like the video, and subscribe for more content right here on Rebel Normal.